as we work to get in tune with our nervous system, one of the elements that's going to be a factor here is, or feeling, one of the things we're looking to feel is the energy, the spark of the nervous system. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. And if you've ever looked at brain scans, or you talk about all this activity, or we talk about the sparkle, the nerve firing, which is a spark, and it goes. Well, that's absolutely true. The nervous system has electricity. I mean, if you follow some of these science fiction movies like Matrix, where the whole human nervous system can be used to generate as a power source to generate electricity. So, we're talking about, something real and electrical, and we should be able to feel that and get in touch with that. And sometimes we don't feel very sparky, and sometimes the brain is, nothing, not much going on. We talk about not all cylinders firing. Sometimes the brain is dull, not a lot of activity. And we want to feel alive. We want to feel that activity. So we use chemical stimulants, caffeine or sugar. Sugar is a chemical stimulant in this context, to get all up. And I would prefer to be able to, one of the things that I think is important as we go through a wellness program for the nervous system is to know where your activity level is. Is it are you lower than you should be? In other words, get a sense of what our baseline is. And okay, today I've got a lot of spark, a lot going on. This is a creative day. This is a day when I've got the energy to do something, whereas I need to rest. This is a day where I don't have a whole lot of spark. There's not, only just barely enough to get going, in which case I need to rest or replenish and be able to breathe in and feel the body and know, okay, what is it we're working with? So let me just give you a few, if we're talking about supporting the nervous system, and I'm going to do some breathing here, but let's just talk a little bit about what are some of the components. So we definitely need minerals to support the nervous system. The actual nerve firing has potassium and sodium, okay, sodium and potassium, and then some calcium that occurs at the neuromuscular junction, or at the synapses, right? Synapses are when nerves come together, and then there's the neurotransmitters. So we got minerals, potassium, sodium, that kind of thing. I think chloride, but I don't remember chloride being a specific thing. I'll have to go back and read all the details, but I know potassium and sodium are the main pumps that feed the electrical potential that goes across the neural membranes. And then, so membranes are important, right? So the membrane integrity becomes super important because we need the myelin sheath, right? I don't know if you've heard of these terms, but the myelin is this wrapping and wrapping and wrapping, and that's made out of progesterone, or has a progression from progesterone into myelin. And so you start to see, well, we need all these components. We need good membranes, healthy membranes. This is why healthy fat, and why avoiding bad fat, and why we need fat-soluble antioxidants to maintain the integrity, protect those membrane systems from damage. And so all this becomes important. Minerals. And then we talk about neurotransmitters. A lot of times those are amino acids. We need these amino acids to feed into the system, and branched chain amino acids are some of those are very, very important for that. And so we look at, I know it's not on the list for this month, but the AminoWise that we took back in July, if you felt like that gave you energy or sustained your energy system just in general, it had nothing to do with your muscles, but had a lot to do with the actual amino acid profile that you're getting in there and helping to give you a boost to the neurotransmitter system. So we've got a lot of factors that we can influence the nervous system in a positive direction, but if we don't feel what's going on in the nervous system, when we don't honor the fact that there's times of the day when there's a little bit going to be more activity, and times of the day would be naturally lower activity, and if we just keep burning it up and stimulating, oh well, I don't feel the buzz, so I'm going to add more coffee or add more caffeine in some fashion, chocolate, sodas, whatever. Even if it's natural, even if it's a Young Living product, I don't want to just keep goosing it. So I want to breathe in and feel this electricity, feel the charge, Okay, and the electrical field in the brain is strong enough that we can measure it, right? You get these brain scans and whatnot, and it's got activity, and it shows activity if you do this or that, or think about this thing or whatever, and so clearly there's enough of a strong enough field to measure, out from the outside. And so there's a lot of electricity. It's the buzz. We've got this buzz of going on in the central nervous system, or the whole nervous system. And of course, this is information. This is stimulation that goes out to the fingertips. The fingertip says, "Oh, something's touching me," and that information comes back, shooting back to the brain very quickly. And we know how fast, if you burn your hand, you have the reflex arc. And so there's all this is our communication system between this brain that's locked away in the dark, so to speak, in the skull, and it's how do we get out? How do we know what's going on out here? And that's all through the nervous system, through the sensations. We're going to do a little bit about that, but mostly we're talking about the nervous system. I'll probably have to do a whole separate unit on just the sensory stuff. Anyway, so I'm going to breathe into, where should we start? Breathe into the spine, I think. If we go in through the mouth, go to the back of the neck, you'll go right into the spine. So in other words, you don't even have to go down. You could just go straight back. And I'm starting with the neck, right? Or go a little bit higher into the base of the skull. So here is kind of the primitive, if you want to start in the most primitive, kind of back here. And then go from there. So I'm going to go down and feel the spine and feel the buzz, and actually I feel immediately I feel more present, more buzz, if you will, down the right side of my spine, and not so much down the left. So I'm just breathing in, I'm listening, right? Feeling the buzz, going down the spine and then out. So my right side a lot more activated. I can feel it much quicker. It goes out to the tissues, whereas the left side not so much. So it just gives me an awareness to say, okay, this one's more active. Now let's see about going it up into the brain. And so the surface, very active, but deeper, not so in touch with that. Doesn't mean it's not active. Maybe I'm just not in touch with it. So I'm breathing in, imagining making this connection. Okay, and that's just listening. Now I'm going to breathe in this is because beginning of my day, I'm going to breathe in. I want some charge. So this is not a time, if I'm going to sleep, then I would be not looking to charge anything. But if I'm going, if I'm starting my day, I kind of want to get things going. So I'm going to breathe in, and I'm going to imagine the sodium and the potassium and the neurotransmitters and the good quality nutrients and everything flooding in and working, not just flooding in, but feeding the whole system, feeling the spine activate, right? Warm it up. I could bring in warmth. I could bring in that sparkle and make sure that I fill out the left side, because I already felt that the left side for me was a little bit weaker. I'm just sharing with you what I experienced. You obviously are going to experience your own thing, and it's not necessarily your left side that's weaker. So out to the tissues, feel the sparkle. So actually already my body feels warmer, more alive. I'm going through the nerves, right? I'm going through these nerve channels and specifically tuning to that. And then up into the brain. And we've got a lot of parts of the brain. We haven't really, we've got a left and right hemisphere. We could just at least make that distinction. Breathe into the right side of my brain. Breathe up into the left side of my brain. So, I'm kind of getting the sense of, where these two are. They do both feel activated. Breathe into this brain stem back here. Frontal lobe. Sides, temporals. And then into the center here. Now that I'm into the center, this is the limbic system. So this is a great time to take something like peppermint, right? Which we know is, kind of stimulating and up. I'm going to take a few drops. Just a little, I don't know if you can see that. Can't see that. Anyway, just a few drops. And that, it's pretty fumey. You don't want to get too much in your face. But now that I'm in the center of the brain, I'm going to breathe in this peppermint. And imagine those molecules, those peppermint molecules, actually fat soluble, moving through the nerves and creating a protection against oxidative stress, activating, protecting, and feel that actually come through the brain. Feel it move through the spine. I'm inviting those essential oil molecules to move through and down the nerve endings, and actually give that nice, it just feels very protective. It's very cooling, soothing, but at the same time invigorating. So very easy. Now I just took 3 or 4 minutes to do this, but you could see how as you practice this, it doesn't have to take you 4 minutes to do a breathing to activate your nervous system. Literally a drop of oil in one breath. Like I said, once you kind of you breathe it in, activate the brain, have it wash down the spine, out to the nerves, pathways, whoo, 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 and in one breath, you're sending that whoosh out, and you're good to go. Now, are the oils working well anyway? I mean, did you have to do the breathing in order to do the oil? Did I have to consciously no? The oil's going to do where it goes. But what I'm saying is, as your consciousness, it brings a lot of power and awareness, and awareness is a big factor in our wellness. We've got to know whether something is hurting our nervous system. We have to know whether something's helping it, whether our nervous system needs a little help. We got to be in tune with the natural native state, the natural state. Am I tired and need to rest, or am I kind of pushing it too hard? And sometimes you acknowledge, okay, I'm driving, we've got to get home. I'm going to need to use some caffeine, some nitro, some Zing, whatever it is. That I not just whatever it is, but like I said, I'm leaning toward the natural versions of these things. So Young Living has awesome products for that. But I'm going to go for the nitro and the Zing to help me stay awake, because I'm in danger otherwise. But how about we run our day and our life and our trip and all the rest of it so that we don't end up driving in emergency time over the limit, and so to speak, of our nervous system, and we stop and rest. And have the resources, the planning ahead, that we can stop at a hotel. No, I don't want to stop at a hotel. I don't want to spend the money. Hey, I know, I've been there. And, so work our life and our plan and our trip to have it so that we're not blowing ourselves out and leaning on these chemical stimulants to get through the trip. Those are just, hopefully that's just a unique, rare situation, not the everyday. If you're pushing on that every single day with all that stimulate, first of all, you could try using something like peppermint and breathing to get in touch with that and give you a little more solid presence for that, rather than just this surface goose. But that's every day. It's going to wear you out, And so watch for those things, especially if you're someone who has, blood pressure problems, can't sleep, all the rest of the stuff. Those are signs that the nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, which we'll talk a lot more about sympathetic versus parasympathetic, but the sympathetic, the stimulated nervous system is just too much. It's overstimulated. And so then you end up with these other problems, digestive problems, sleeping problems, blood pressure problems. And so, if we're using medications to keep balanced, is that really the wellness approach we want? Okay, so this is just a little bit of breathing and awareness, and how we can use an oil or two, like peppermint or frankincense, whatever. Grab whatever oil you want and use that to participate in this process of paying attention to the nervous system, getting this sense of the electricity, the power, the what's going on in there, and then participating consciously with that. Okay, have a wonderful, energetic day, or if you're doing this before night, a fabulous, restful sleep, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.